Are you looking for an awesome entry-level coffee grinder for French press coffee that's versatile, easy to use, and offers a wide amount of different coffee grind types? We've got one for you today here on FrenchPressCoffee.com. Hey everyone, I'm Brian with FrenchPressCoffee.com. Thank you as always for tuning into our virtual coffee shop here today. And what I am talking about is the Baratza Encore automatic coffee grinder. Let's dive in and talk about its features. Now I have the Baratza Encore automatic coffee grinder here on my left. Let's start top to bottom and just go through the features on it. Pretty straightforward. On the top, we have our bean hopper. The bean hopper can store up to 8 ounces of coffee beans, and just around its adjustment ring here is how you're going to choose your coffee grind type. There are 40 different grind markers here for you to make use of, and the unit is capable of grinding 250 to 1200 microns. So on the far left, you're going to have French press. We've read that 28 is actually the magic number for French press, but you can play around with this a little bit. If you turn all the way to the right, you're going to get to a much finer grind for Turkish and espresso grinds, and somewhere in between there you may find your perfect grind. As we move down, on the front of the unit we have this momentary switch, which is kind of cool. So if you hold that down, the grinder will work, but then just shut off immediately. So if you just need to grind a little bit, that's a good way to do it. And then you have your grounds hopper and collector down here, and this is capable of collecting up to 5 ounces of ground coffee. On the left-hand side of the grinder, you're going to find an on-off switch, and I found this interesting. There are actually 2 ons and 2 offs, so you can kind of just keep turning it, so and off, on and off. And it just spins around 360 degrees with no end. So you can just turn it and then off. Makes it kind of easy to just get going in the morning, essentially, which is kind of cool. And that's about it. The unit is about 7 pounds before you start to put coffee into it. So it's not too heavy, but it definitely has weight to it. I don't see it moving around while you're grinding, which is also kind of useful. I've used some grinders that are a little light. Turn them on and they'll move as time goes on. I don't think this one's going to do that as much. Let's talk about, of course, the most important part of the Baratza Encore grinder, and that is the burrs. So taking a look at the inside of the unit here with the bean hopper removed, we've got 40mm steel conical burrs. These burrs are made in Europe, and they do spin at about 550 RPM if they are not under load, meaning not grinding. When they are grinding, they'll go down to about 450, and that is important because they won't heat up too much, which of course can damage your coffee. And if you're getting a lot of heat when you're grinding, it's just going to affect the flavor and make things taste off. So I think that that's a very cool feature. There's also this rubber gasket here, and I thought that this was actually a pretty cool addition. I haven't seen this on some other grinders. This gasket sits on top of the burrs, or just around the burrs, and it will basically just make sure that you don't get coffee grounds absolutely everywhere. It doesn't get all inside the unit and things like that. So pretty easy to use and clean. And then there is something worth mentioning, which is that the grinder comes with one of these handy brushes. So if you need to get in there and clean, you can clean here. You can use this for other things, of course. And that's a good thing to do every once in a while because there's going to be buildup on your conical burrs, so you want to keep them clean in order to get really good coffee. But that's the basic gist. Pretty easy and straightforward. Of course, you can also take this apart if you want. There's a wing nut right here. If you remove that wing nut, you can take apart the conical burrs. You probably won't need to do that most of the time, I would think. But if you want to get in and start cleaning things up even more in depth, you can do that. Let's add some beans and show you how the Baratza Encore grinds. So I'm going to aim for French press, so I'm going to use the 28 setting. I'm going to turn the little notch right here to line up with the 28 mark on the ring around the bean hopper here. And then I'm going to make use of the power switch and just let this grind a little bit. That should be pretty good. Now, of course, you would want to grind depending on the amount of coffee that you need. But let's take a look at what we have here. Yeah, and that's impressive. That's a really good grind for French press. Now, I should mention, I had done a grind on this above 28, going more actually towards 40, And I found that that looked pretty consistent as well, but this magic number of 28 that we've seen through some documentation looks pretty good. Very little breakage, looks like a really good overall French press grind. So I think that this is going to be really decent. And of course, I have played around with some other grinds on this unit, and the level of grind that you can get is really impressive. If you like to do Turkish, this gets really down to basically a fine powder, which again is hard for a lot of automatic grinders to do. You usually need to do a manual grinder to get down to that level of fineness. But the Baratza Encore has definitely pulled it off. So I have to say, really impressive grind on this unit. Cleaning and maintenance on the Baratza Encore is really straightforward. I've already mentioned basically all I would think you would for sure need to do every once in a while, which is to clean the burrs, which you can use that handy brush that comes with the unit for. Beyond that, it would be just keeping your grinds hopper and collection bin clean, and maybe cleaning up every once in a while in the top area where the grinds are going to come down from. You can kind of shake it out. Maybe you have a little vacuum you want to use, a little brush, something along those lines. But really, other than that, there's no maintenance you're going to need to do on this. You don't need to maintain the burrs or oil it or any weird things like that. So really straightforward unit, and I think it's going to last a lifetime if you're using it the right way. I don't see any way that this is not going to just really last you for quite a long time. And what are you going to pay to add the Baratza Encore automatic coffee grinder to your at-home coffee shop? You look at about $129. So actually a really great price for an awesome automatic coffee grinder. And that leads me to my bottom line with this unit, which is this is an excellent entry-level automatic coffee grinder that is also going to be incredibly versatile and give you access to a huge amount of different coffee grinds that you're going to be able to make use of. And of course, if you're going to be making French press coffee, which is what we love here at FrenchPressCoffee.com, I think this is going to knock it out of the park. So, great unit, really great price, easy to use, and super coffee grinds coming out of it. So I would say this one's a big win. So as always, if you're interested in this, go to FrenchPressCoffee.com. If you're interested in finding out more about French press coffee, of course, check out our other videos here on our YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, follow us for more awesome videos. And if you have any questions or comments, get in touch. We're looking forward to hearing from you. I'm Brian with FrenchPressCoffee.com. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Take care.
If you liked that highly caffeinated video, why don't you give us a like? And while you're at it, subscribe to our channel. If you do, I'll give you an awesome coffee quote. Go on. I'll wait. There you go. Well, thank you so much. And now for a coffee quote, which I'm sure all of us can relate to. Given enough coffee, I could rule the world.